What is up YouTube, and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. It's time for patch 6.2e, and Riot did the unthinkable again. They're completely going over the board with one of their buffs, and we'll talk about it today. And you can pretty much see the image of the champion we're talking about already on your screen. So let's take a good look at the patch. They say summer changes everyone. 1 minute you're laning like always, thinking the game will never change, then suddenly the tide shifts. Buffs start to roll out in like heat waves from the hottest summer you experienced as a kid, knocking the breath right out of you, and nerfs hit you like those surprise summer thunderstorms you and your friends get caught in on the way back to the beach. Everything feels different in summer, even the Rift. The meta's getting a shake-up, careful adjustments to bring harmony back to the chaos of clash and carry. And yeah, summer is not a summer without a little glow up. The summer party skins have also arrived, and they're bringing poolside charm and breezy confidence to the Rift. It's time to fall in love with your mains, your matchups, and even the Rift again. Queue up and enjoy salt air, summer breeze while taking down your enemies. Champion changes. This patch we are striking a balance between revving up some of our underperformers and cooling off the overachievers that thrive in the early game, like Urgot, Viego, and Pantheon, will be getting a surge of power to boost their tempo, while those who have been performing a little too well, like Rammus, Ashe, Varus, and Karma, we are putting on ice and telling them it's time to chill out. These changes should clear some of the fog on the Rift and cause a fairer fight across all roles. Okay, so what do we see? We see an Urgot buff. Urgot passive buff. Urgot cannot compete with the meta champions in top lane. Unfortunately, the damage of this champion is seeing an increase starting on the second point of the passive, which we see here an increase by 2.5%. Let me swap the pans here real quick so it's like a little bit better, visible in a better way. See here, and then it scales up to 42.5%. Urgot is only really a problem if the champion is ahead. The champion itself is not that much of a troublemaker for the meta champions, so this is a change that's not really relevant towards changes in the actual meta. However, this champion will see like a surge in play rate again because this champion hasn't been played in a while, and since people forgot how to play against this champion, his win rate will be skyrocketing for some time. That's just how it goes, but the champion itself, like, it's really not meta. The biggest problem of this patch is going to be Viego. We see a base stat increase from 58 to 62 and a third ability increase of attack speed by 10%. For what reason? So, Viego has already been one of the best champions in the game for the jungle department, and we're casually buffing Viego in the jungle department for zero reason. Viego has been one of the, like, Riven, Viego, Aatrox that we've previously on Best, and Best is still good in jungle. But yeah, these two champions have been the most disgusting champions on the Rift. So yeah, you better ban this champion, because this champion is utterly overtuned, and this buff is, I don't know, like, I'm questioning sanity here, like, really much. Like, this is just insane to me. This is, like, easily now top champion of the, like top champions, he is, like, Aatrox, again, Aatrox, Riven, Viego. Pick these champions, win. Enjoy. Okay, Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is seeing an armor increase from 40 to 46, and the cooldown of his second ability, which is one of his most damaging abilities, is getting a 1 second reduction, and the challenge duration is also seeing an increase here. So the problem with this is, Xin Zhao is a champion that people play in a way where they just fight, and giving a champion more skirmishing power allows them to get even harder leads during the early game, and then allow them to snowball the game. This is a massive impact onto the game. Also, obviously, it accelerates their clearing power because dispel's obviously also reduced by the third talent strike, the first ability. So we have to keep all that in mind. This is a relatively big change, and Xin Zhao will be played more often, and you will realize how annoying this champion is, was, and will be due to the way he plays. Pantheon. Pantheon has 52 base armor, 40 magic resist, level 1. Is this a tank? Is Pantheon a tank now, or what? Movement speed gained while Pantheon slams the shield 1.5 to 2.5, so this is already like a lot better as well. Again, similar to Xin Zhao, like these both champions now gain more skirmishing power, allowing them to push their leads even earlier and then snowball. If you think about these champions as falling off in the late game, let's say these are the stages of the game, now they'll start higher here, which allows them to go higher earlier and snowball ahead and end the game maybe earlier here instead of here, because they can push their lead a lot harder. That is like the idea behind this. So you have to be really careful about these approaches, because these champions were not bad. They were not bad, but they weren't played. That's like one of the things, like they weren't played. People would rather play Fiddlesticks, which a champion that gets absolutely dumpstered by all of these from level 1 onwards, because they can just do whatever they want to Fiddlesticks. But again, playing jungle is most likely against 0 people, because in order to play against another jungler, the jungler needs to know what to do. And if you don't know what to do and you're just AFK, nothing happens, and then the other champion will outscale you, which is the primary problem of jungle players. Braum. Why are we buffing Braum again? We are in an 80 carry centric problematic meta, somewhat. Or rather, like 80 carries were already good, but they were just even made better. Plus supports. And we're buffing Braum. Why? Braum was very good already. Why? He gets 60, like 30 base health. The damage here, what do we see here? Let me see all the modifier. So we have 20 to 30, and okay, so we deal more damage on our passive. Then the bonus damage sees an increase from 4 to 6 and 2.5 to 3. His first ability gets a 1 second cooldown reduction. 15 mana cost reduction, this is quite nice. And the cooldown, what? Huh? Did I just see this right? So we're giving Braum damage. We're giving Braum less cooldowns, slower cooldowns here, which promotes like more proactive play, while fixing some of the mana issues as well, which could potentially roll in from having this gameplay loop. And then we are buffing the ability you max second to an 8-second cooldown. Are you for real right now? Like, again, we have these patches where you just randomly decide to make champions Thanos champions, because Braum is probably the, like, if you're an 80 carry, there's 2 champions you hate. It is Yasuo and it's Braum, because they completely deny your ability to play, because they invalidate your entire role. If the Braum and the Yasuo player know when to place down their spell. So yeah, Braum is, yeah, that is a funny one. Rumble. Flame Spitter damage. First off, I'm very happy that we see Rumble nerf, very much deserved. Champion is too safe, too powerful, can itemize defensive boots, so this is very good. We see a 10 damage reduction here, and we see a 15 damage reduction, but we don't see a percentage damage reduction, so this is more like, yeah, it's like pretty much whatever. It doesn't change it too much. The bigger change is here on the shielding, which is the main thing they should target, because Rumble is way too safe. The thing is, what I think they could have done is they could have maybe increased E cooldown early game, decrease it later on, and yeah, tackle the shield, which is fine. The shielding tackle is the best choice because Rumble is way too tanky. What do we have here? -5 and -20 on your highest rank, so -5 per level, stacking up. Then we have the danger zone adjustment here, so yeah, I think this is a very good change. This makes Rumble weaker, makes him at least more susceptible to counter, like to actually just killing. Because yeah, if you have defensive boots against the type of champion you're playing, you never die. It's just impossible, unless you want to die. Rammus. Base attack damage from 58 to 54. Defense curl from 6 to 7, and the bonus damage while curled from 50 to 40. Now, about the problem of Rammus. Rammus itself is not broken. The problem is, Rammus allows you a gameplay loop that is very illegal. Because if that is the Summoner's Rift map and we just cut it in half, Rammus will clear one side and he will permanently gank. He will permanently gank because he isn't dependent on farm to be efficient. Which means, unless you actively know that he's doing this and you know what to do against it, it is very easy to fall victim against that. And if it happened once and he accelerates, he can force place under tower constantly. If this happens, if he gets a double kill early game, from this cheese shenanigans, he can just roll mid lane and one-shot your mid laner by taunting him. Like, he gets level 5, he rolls in there, he taunts them, and he gets 100-0 on the tower unless he has any tool against this. So that's the main problem with Rammus. It is, most of the time, people being oblivious as to what Rammus can do and not knowing the answer to this. And given how much of a problem that is, which is, it is fair, it's completely fine, they nerf him. So don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see a Rammus nerf. I personally think it wasn't required in the first place if people would be aware what happens in the game. But since that is too much, which is understandable given the inflation in the game, nerfing him is the right approach. 100% correct. Ashe. Yeah, this champion is broken. Like, this champion was too much damage. It's fine. The nerf is absolutely fine. Bonus damage when attack speed is active from 25 to 20, so it's a 5% nerf, and the ult gets a 10-second cooldown change. This is not killing the champion, it makes her weaker and puts her into a better place, because this champion has an absolute crazy laning phase. Level 1, level 2, level 3 onwards, like if you play with Ghost and understand what you have to do, this champion has an insane run-on potential, especially with boots. Like Zerk agrees. It's like the 10 times better version of Caitlyn. Basically, you can think about that one like this. Plus, you have access to utility, so even if you are behind or still scaling because of whatever happened, you still have potential impact on the game with the arrow. Varus. Hands down, best nerf I'm seeing. 58 to 54 AD. Detonation damage is getting a reduction in the flat department from 3.5 to 3. It's a 0.5 reduction. And we see a 0.003 reduction on the scaling of the explosion. from the Blight stacks. Plus, the ult gets a cooldown increase. Yeah, this was too much. So this is primarily targeting the overtunedness of Varus, especially looking at the AP on it variant that either goes from Nash's Tooth or from BT. You can have multiple builds like this, because this champion is just overtuned. If there's something I would like to look into, would be the kill benefit of Varus, because it's simply too much. You can think of Jinx, but Varus is the better Jinx in every regard possible. Because if you get a kill on Varus, you get attack speed that overcaps onto your like total attack speed cap, and you get AP and AD, and not too little. So you absolutely go nuts, which is something that's absolutely crazy. However, I think it's a good nerf. Like, we nerf a little bit of his early game, because Varus has very little things he cannot kill level 2. Like, let's say you start W and have Q level 2, or you have Q level 1 and W level 2, because W level 1 is 20 magic damage on hit. Then you have this, you had this AD plus Longsword, which was 70. Then you have Brutal, which is then even more. Like, you see the damage numbers, it's just overtuned, you just kill. And then you have the Execute benefit, or the modifier from W level 2, or level 1 onto Q. And then the enemy just dies. They have no counterplay. They just get ran down because you stat check them. So yeah, perfect nerf. Varus still scales brutally, but his early game got tuned down, which is very happy. And of course his late game also got tuned down, but he will still probably one-tap you because, well, Varus is a funny champion. Karma. Base shield value from 70 to 60, mantra 140 to 120, so it's a 20 nerf. This is a nerf to Enchanter Karma. Enchanter Karma is the spectator version of the champion. We do not see any nerf to the movement speed, which is probably the biggest issue here. People who itemize anti-shielding usually have no big trouble dealing with this champion. The core gameplay loop of the carry Karma has not been touched in eons, so you can still abuse that one for free. But yeah, this version of Karma nerfing, like this nerf to Karma, nerfs Karma players who hate responsibility. Because you play Enchanter Karma to have no responsibilities. Because it's just like, there's nothing, like, realistically speaking, there's not much you can do wrong, because you just spam spells. You just spam everything you have on cooldown and you don't think about it. It's like the typical Enchanter gameplay loop. No hate, by the way. It's just how it is. And because you always have value without any responsibility, your win rate will be goddamn high. Meanwhile, you have champions that have responsibilities, like Braum, where every cooldown matters, Nautilus, where positioning matters, like engaged champions, etc., then their win rate will obviously be lower. It's just the sad reality of the game. Zilean. Also good we see in the Zilean nerf. Base health region 10 to 6, okay. Base measures 36 to 28, so this is targeting mid lane Zilean. Or mage matchups bot lane. Time bomb 12 to 13.5. Later it's still the same. Damage -5 per rank. So we have a 20 damage discrepancy later on, which is fine because the ability has a 75% AP scaling, so we ball. Twisted time flow, cooldown 13 to 14.5. Later it's the same cooldown. Shielding nerfed by 15 here. This nerf doesn't affect level 1 Zilean in bot lane and the core gameplay loop, because the stats you have are still way too much. And what you can do in establishing lane control. This nerf feels awfully targeted towards mid lane Zilean. Like, I don't really know. This feels awfully targeted like mid lane Zilean, even though this was never really a problem. Zilean, again, same as I said about Karma, 0 responsibilities. You can just play non-interactive, and you'll always have value because of ult, and you can spam spells. This makes Zilean weaker, 100%. It makes him weaker. But the levels at which Zilean will be weaker would maybe be the elite and highest levels possible, because this is just literally whatever for people that just casually play, for the vast majority of the player base, because it's still the same problem. You press ult, lol, can't win, it's over. You can't break Zilean still. That is the main issue. Aurora, we finally see some nerf here. First cast bonus damage 30 to 32, 35 to 32. This doesn't really do anything. It's like, it feels like a slap on the wrist, like, hey, calm down a little bit, yeah. So we're still happy with this, because a nerf is a nerf and we take those. Gameplay changes. We are adjusting Hex Trigger so it now has a more optimal build path, where you'll be able to access magic resistance earlier, making it a great pickup if you're fighting more ability power threats early. We're also adjusting Gold Snaptrap mark duration, making it easier for teams to follow up on plays. Gold Snaptrap from 5 to 8 seconds, but they're nerfing the gold share, so question mark? Hex Drinker, 1100 to 1200 gold, so it's a price increase, but they added Null Magic Mantle to the mix here, which is, I think it was 25 MR, which is, if you get it early game, it's like roughly about nearly twice the amount of magic resist you will have, more like 1.75 times-ish if you get it really early. This allows you to counteract magic pen boots and overall magic pen builds, because having access to, like, if you build more, your first access to magic resist was actually completing a Hex Drinker or completing more. Like, Hex Drinker and then more. So this, you have access to it earlier. allowing yourself to basically itemize into a defensive version instead of the offensive version here. Because Longsword is only offensive and Null Magic would be the defense version. Would be pretty nice into double AP mid jungle, but you play a high stat champion and you want to actually just be a lot more durable. Therefore, we have the adjustment here in Mortiers, which is not a big change. And we have DD nerf, God bless, from 32 to 30. So it doesn't really, like, it's not a big change, but it's still a nerf for DD, which is overtuned. So I'm happy about that one too. New skins, Summer Party Yasuo Exquisite Edition, 29th of August. That is in 2 days. Summer Party Seraphine, 19th, that's so late, 19th of September. So Pool Party Samira, Summer Party Samira, 19th of September. Katarina, 19th of September. Summer Party Yasuo, 19th of September. And 19th of September too. So this is the only one that releases early. Why does the Exquisite Edition release early? Well, I don't know. I don't care. These look good. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and come back for more. Take care.